Hi there fellow tech enthusiasts, welcome back to my channel Head in the Cloud, where we bring you the latest and greatest in DevOps cloud and software deployment strategy. Today we've got something really exciting lined up for you. We will be diving deep into the world of DevOps by exploring the topic of controlling deployment using classic release gates. In this tutorial, we will cover everything you need to know about classic release gates. We will discuss what they are, why they are essential, and most importantly, how to use them effectively to manage your deployments. Release gates are a powerful way to ensure that your deployments are successful and meet your quality standards. With release gates, you can specify criteria that must be met before a deployment can proceed. This criteria can include things like quality assurance testing, dependency availability, custom business rules, compliance and governance, code review, rollback mechanism, build artifact must be available, code coverage must be at a certain level, unit test must pass, and manual approval from a team member. By the end of this video, you will have a solid grasp of release gates and be ready to take your deployment game to the next level. So, if you are as excited as I am about mastering this vital aspect of DevOps, be sure to hit that subscribe button, ring the notification bell, and give this video a thumbs up so you never miss out on our in-depth tutorial. The first step will be to create a project in Azure DevOps and import code in this project. In my Azure DevOps organization, I create a new project. Once a project is created, I import a code. Now, I configure CI pipeline as a code with YAML in Azure DevOps. In pipeline, I create new pipeline. Where is your code in Azure repo Git? I select my repo. The pipeline is existing Azure pipeline YAML file. I select the file and I create my Azure pipeline. I save the pipeline and rename it. I run the pipeline. The pipeline was successful and we have an artifact containing the published website. The next step is to create two Azure Web Apps, DevTest and Production, into which we will deploy the application web via Azure Pipeline. In the Azure portal, we launch the Cloud Shell, we select Bash, and we create a resource group in Central US. Then we create a service plan. Then we create two app service, DevTest and Prod. We check the resources that was created. We have our resource group, and inside this resource group we find the app service plan and the app service test and app service prod. We select the name of app service test because we need it for the next lab. The next step is to create and configure an application insight resource for the DevTest web app. In the Azure portal, we search for application insight. We create an application insight. We select the resource group, the name and classic, and in the same region that the app service. Review and create. The application insight was created. We return to our resource group. We select the app service DevTest. Here we choose application insight. We turn on application insight, enable application insight without redeploying your code. Donc turn on application insight for this web app. Here we select existing resource and we select our application insight. We apply. Yes. We have configuring application insight for the web app dev test. Now we have to create an alert. We go to view application insight data. We select alert. We create alert rule. We look for signal request. We select file request and we apply. Here we choose for threshold static count greater than count, and for threshold value 0. We go to next action, next details. Here for this alert we choose the severity to as warning. We define the name for this alert rule. In advanced option we uncheck automatically resolve alert. We review the alert and we create it. Now, in this step, we are configuring the release pipe. For this, go to our Azure Pipeline, Azure Devops release. We create new release. The template, we select Azure App Service Deployment. We define the name for this stage as DevTest. We go here and we click Clone. In the second stage, we choose Production as the name of this stage. We add an artifact. As artifact, we select the project and the source build. The source build is the first build of the pipeline that we have created last. We select job task. In this task, in this stage, dev test stage, we have one job with one task. Description, we select our Azure subscription or the service connection, which will allow us to create resources in our subscription. I select service connection. For app type, I let web app on web, and in app service name, I select my dev test web app. Then I select the task deploy Azure App Service. Here in the package or folder, I choose web.azure. Here I select productions. I select my service connection and the production web app. I select the task and I update this parameter. I update the name of this release and I save. I want to enable continuous integration. For this, I click here, continuous deployment trigger, and I enable continuous deployment trigger, and I save my release pipeline. To check the continuous deployment trigger, I will launch the CI pipeline. And we will check if it will trigger our release pipeline when it's successful. Our pipeline was successful. Then we check for the release and we decide that the release was triggered. The next step is to configure the release gates. I will configure a pre-deployment gate for approval. I go to my release, I edit the pipeline, and here in the pre-deployment condition, I enable a pre-deployment approval. I select the name of user and I save. A release, I create a release. The stage dev test is in the pending approval state. I click approve and I approve this deployment. Once the deployment is approved, the deployment and the task of the deployment is running. In this step, I will configure post-deployment gates for Azure Monitor. I return to my Azure Pipeline release, and here I select post-deployment condition. I enable the gates, and I add a new check query Azure Monitor alert. I select my subscription or my service connection. I select the resource group here in advance and for my release pipeline. The web app application. I browse to the web application that was deployed in app service. I add discount. I have an error message. I refresh the page. Go to alert, and there is one alert. And if I return to my, this is expected behavior since there is an application inside alert triggered for the DevTest web app. This alert. In this video, we create and configure classic release gate. I hope this video was helpful. If you have any questions, please leave a comment below, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more about DevOps, cloud, and engineering.